All right, so in this section, we are going to write a linear equation, but they only give us 2 points. So they don't give us m, they don't give us the y-intercept, just 2 points that a line passes through. All right, so these are your steps on how you're going to do that. So basically, anytime we need to write an equation, we need to know what m is, and we need to know what b is. All right, so in the previous section we talked about, it was when I gave you m, but then just one other point, and we were able to do that. So now we have 2 points, and we only need 1, but we also need to find what our slope is. So the first step is to use this equation to find the slope, your change of y's over your change of x, so a skill we've covered before. After you get what your m is, then you're going to pick one of the 2 points, and it doesn't matter which one you pick, but you're going to pick one of them. So then you will have your m, and you'll have another point. Then you're going to use the slope-intercept form from the previous notes, and we're basically doing what we did the other day. And then finally, once you find m and b, you will write your answer into slope-intercept form. All right, so this is an example of how we would do that. So let's say we have an equation of a line that passes through -5, 7, and 2, -7. So what that is just saying is at -5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's this point, and then 2, -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this point. Here's a line that goes through it, and we need to write the equation of that line. So the first thing is to set up and find the slope. So in this case, we have our 7 and a -7. So depending on whatever y you use first, in this case we use -7. So -7 minus 7 over 2 first, 2 minus -5 equals -14 over 7, which will reduce to -2. So our m equals -2. This is stuff you guys are going to put into your calculator to solve. After we do that, so step 2, you pick one of the 2 points. So you can see in this example, I picked the 2, -7. You could have picked the -5, 7 here to do step 3, and it doesn't matter because you would get the same answer. But in this case, I used m, and then I brought this point down. And remember, this is my x, this is my y. Then I'm using the formula y equals mx plus b to solve for b. So we can see in this how my y is -7, my m is -2, and my x is +2. And then we solve for this. So we would have -7. -2 times 2 is -4 plus b. Add 4 to both sides. -7 plus 4 would be -3, and that's our b. So once we have that, so now we have our b is -3. I found my m by using the slope formula to be -2. So now I can write my equation. Y equals -2x plus -3, or just -3. This looks weird, so obviously y equals -2x minus 3 in that form. I just put the spaces in there for this. Okay, so let's go ahead and run through how we do this. And you're going to follow your steps each time. Maybe even check off your steps as you go. Step 1, use this formula. So my first step is going to be, we do this on our calculator. We put parentheses, minus parentheses, over parentheses, minus parentheses. So whatever y's you use first, then you use the same x's first. So I might do 3 minus 5. So 3 minus 5, those are my y's. Remember, this is x, this is y. Then on the bottom, I would say 2 minus 7. This is going to give me my m. All right, so at this point, go ahead and bring up your calculator. And if you remember, we would type these in with our parentheses, and then it just spits out our answer for us, right? Whoop. I'm going to go to the denominator here. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in the numbers. So I have 3, I have 5, and then I have 2, and I have 7, and that gives me 0.4, or I'm just going to call it 2 over 5. So let's use 2 over 5 as our m, because we like to use fractions as m. So m equals 2 over 5. So that's one piece of information that we need. All right, so the other piece that we need is either the 2, 3, or the 7, 5. I'm going to use the 2, 3. All right, now, after we do that, so we identified the slope and we picked one of the 2 points. Now we're going to use the slope-intercept form. So now I can type in and substitute my information. So my y is 3. So 3 equals, all right, m, which is 2/5, and then my x, which is 2, plus b. All right, so I like to keep my slope as a fraction because when we're graphing, we count up 2, go over 5. But our b, it's okay if that is in a decimal. So now I'm going to go through this and put 2/5 times 2. So I'm going to back this out. So 2 over 5. All right, and then we're multiplying that by 2. And that gives us 0.8. So it's okay to use it as a decimal at this point now. So 3 equals 0.8 plus b. And then we have to get b by itself, so we're going to subtract that. Subtract 0.8 from both sides. All right, so I have 3 minus 0.8. Again, go back to your calculator to get this information. 3 minus 0.8. It gives us positive 2.2. So 2.2 equals my b. All right, I have my b now. I have my m. Now I can do the final step of writing my equation. Y equals 2/5 x plus 2.2. All right, so graphing these would be a little more difficult, but I'm not going to, especially with their decimal points, but this is why we would do something like this. When it's not obvious what our b is, and it might not be as obvious what our slope is if you were seeing it in graph, but this is how we can get the accurate information. All right, so let's go ahead and try this one out. So again, I'm going to set up my equation. So I need to find, step 1, I need to find my slope first. So we put in our x's and our y's. So I can put in, I'll start with the 0 and the -10. 0 and 5. So again, if you're using your calculator, you can type in 0 minus 10 or minus a -10. So just as we see it, parentheses 0 minus parentheses 5, and we get -2 as our m. So m equals -2. So there's our first part. Then we have to pick one of the 2 points. We can pick 0, 0, or 5, -10. Let's pick 0, 0. That's a nice one. So I'm going to put 0, 0, because I know I'm using that as my x and my y. So now again, y equals mx plus b. We got to solve for b. So 0 is our y, equals -2 times 0 plus b. And then I do this, -2 times 0, 0. So 0 equals b. So that's my b. Using my slope and my b, now I can write the equation in line. Y equals -2x, and then if you want to put plus 0, you can, but you don't have to. Right? And again, it doesn't matter which one we use. Let's say I used 5, -10 instead of 0, 0. Let's see what that comes out to. All right? So m equals -2 and 5, -10, it should come out to this as well. So 5, -10, and I'm using m equals -2, right? Let me just double check and make sure that was right. Yep, -2 and 5, -10. So following the same steps, I would say y, which is -10, equals -2 times x, which is 5, plus b. -2 times 5 is -10, so -10 equals -10 plus b. Add 10 to both sides. So this is 0 equals b. So we can see that b came out to the same, so y equals -2x plus 0. Same answer that I got here. So long and short of it is, once you find your m, pick either of the 2 points, right? If I were to use 7 and 5, I would still get the same answer here. It comes out to the same thing, all right? So it doesn't matter which one you pick. Look at them, whichever numbers look like they're easier for you to use, go ahead and do that. There might be a point that might be easier to use for some than others, but again, it's personal preference on how you do that. So follow those steps, and that's how you write the equation of a line given 2 points.